What's up, everyone? This is a little bit of a disclaimer here before we kick off the VOD from over on Twitch. This is the kind of the kit reaction, some initial theory crafting for Echo. We had no idea at the time. We just had the kit reveal. We didn't know exactly when he was going to be going into game. And surprise, surprise, he actually went into game last night. So this VOD is hitting YouTube actually after we already know his full base stats. So impressions today are a lot stronger on Echo. We'll kind of go over it over the course of this VOD, that this team really kind of needed Echo to be fast. I even had a couple of predictions here based on how Tech's kit worked that Echo would be fast. But as we can see here, he's got a base speed of 198, so I would say overall the vibe on this video is going to be a little bit more negative or pessimistic, or just kind of like we don't quite know what potential they have yet. Definitely overall feel stronger about this squad now, but the nature of the beast. We're going to have to explore that in the kit analysis, which, by the way, I know I did one for Hunter and then kind of disappeared on those. I'm just going to redo Hunters and just do all 4 of them now that we can actually see what, for now, we know is the full squad. We're kind of in the dark on if there will be a 5th Bad Batch, but at least for now, we have at least enough of a core. And we know what we're working with, we know how they can play off of each other, how we need to build them. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to work with there. I think the squad shows a lot more promise now. It's kind of unfortunate that we saw Echo last, because this squad really kind of needed him to matter in the competitive fields, and they did get him. Took their sweet time to get there, literally last, after all the key reveals, after all the in-game releases, we did get there. So yeah, enjoy this. Will be maybe a little bit more dour than I think a lot of people will feel today now, as he's in game, as we can see his stats as testing is happening, but I still stand by most of my thoughts there, and as well as I think the thoughts we have for team building, I still feel pretty strongly about. So we'll see. Things can always change and move, but have fun. All right, enjoy. All right, we're finally here. This is the moment of truth. Well, is it? Okay. This is the end of CG's marketing campaign for Bad Batch as we know of it. We still don't have a full 5-man squad, but I think we're at a point right now where we kind of just have to take what we've got and assume that at the very least this is what we'll have for a while, and just kind of try to figure out what the heck we're going to do with any of this, because, I want new squads to be interesting, but so far, Bad Batch has been a little bit of a clunky... Like, they're not exactly there, right? And then we heard, the Google Play leak from yesterday. Well, not leak, it just went up a day early, I guess. We knew that Echo was coming today instead of Crosshair, so whatever the heck is going on there, yeah, Echo... Like, this team really needed something like a Crosshair to just come in and start picking off targets. Kind of like a Beskar Mando, being able to snipe like a Grievous or a Padme, and then kind of work the fight down from there, wear it out, sustain it out. This team just kind of lacked a way to win. You try to steal Rex already, we can see a Rex synergy suggestion, which that is a tough price tag, I would say. If you don't have Ki-Adi-Mundi, if you're kind of using General Skywalker with Jedi Master Luke right now, that actually might, like, there is a point in time until you get Ki-Adi-Mundi where General Skywalker and even Shakti actually in the same team are off occupied elsewhere, and your clones just kind of felt like dead weight. So, you get the Rex Lee Barris, but there is actually an angle that maybe Rex could be open. Once you get Ki-Adi-Mundi though, this sounds like a horrible trade for the most part, because you literally just post gas clones on defense most of the time, or you just get gas clones back as a team. Yeah. Anyway, if I'm being honest, I haven't actually gone through this kit that much. I'm coming in pretty hot here, but right off the bat, man, I actually kind of love this, that CG is actually just giving us basically a statement of intent. We do know that, like honestly, Echo's position in the Bad Batch squad is just kind of weird, right? Like, Echo, like, they did the whole, like, meet the crew trailer yesterday for the Bad Batch show, and they would say, like, Hunter leader plus tracker or whatever. Crosshair, really, really accurate. It has great vision. Echo, hacker. Like, that wasn't already something that Tech was doing nonstop. Like, his entire thing isn't handling computers. So it's just like, what the heck is Echo even going to be in this game? I'm actually kind of going into this blind. I guess we'll find out pretty much immediately. But yeah, with a support tag, you know, we've gotten support tags that can actively play an attacker role before, you know, Grandmaster Yoda being the classic example. But I mean, this at the very least doesn't necessarily sound like that's going to be his plan. Instead, though, I do love this last line, yeah, with the statement of intent of CG's basically telling us, like, hey, this is kind of our intended reason for you to want to care about them. And I feel like this is the first time we've ever gotten this. And it almost kind of makes me want to reframe how we look at these kits, or like reanalyze it, because I think this might actually end up being the most interesting thing about this. Yeah, I guess let's just dive in real quick. This is going to be a bit of a kit reading stream at first, I apologize, but we gotta get it done. Defense and evasion up for the weakest ally who doesn't have them. No double tap mechanic, so a little bit different from everyone else, but I guess Echo is a little bit different from the rest of the squad as well. I guess genetically modified clones just get to attack twice. Yeah, this team needed an extra defense up source. They didn't really have a ton. Fairly repeatable, you know, if you call them to assist or whatever. Man, if this is the last Bad Batch we're getting, then I guess we gotta ask the Shock T question, but I think the answer is still a pretty resounding no. Yeah, you give it to just one other ally, it doesn't give it to himself automatically, so yeah, a few differences between existing Bad Batch kits we have. I don't hate this. Extra evasion up source is a little bit sweaty. The other thing that's tricky about being a banner tax team is we have to ask ourselves how easily the AI could play this team. And to some degree, the answer is fairly easily, and to some degree, the answer is probably not well when we think of like Hunter's swap plus stun, the stun targeting and all that. I'm assuming that the AI would probably be coded to always hit exposes. Actually, we see expose right now. Buff immediate on target enemy, so soft tank control. Click expose on all enemies for 2 turns, okay. Dispel, debuffs on target, other clone trooper ally. Okay, dispel plus assist. The squad needed an assist caller pretty badly, so we do start to see that. Okay, can't be dispelled. That'll help for, like, that makes me think of matchups like Magna Guard. Or I guess like an anti-Watt type scenario, although I can't think of this squad having that many dispels right now. Like a actual dispel, not cleanse. Kind of a annoying wording thing. Cooldown increase, okay, cool, workable. That can be evaded, don't mind having that. And generally, cooldown increases don't have a resist check, they just always happen. So, yeah, cool. I mean, fairly consistent ability. The exposes aren't. It looks like the buff immunity can be, so it can't be dispelled, but it can be resisted. Eh. Honestly, most of the time, I think you're going to be using this ability thinking about the cooldown increase. Never any doubt. Clinch rallies get evaded. That is a... We got 3 evasion up sources in this team now. Yikes. Okay. Dispel buffs on all enemies and inflict daze and healing immunity for 2 turns. That's... I'm assuming that's... Huh. It's actually not bad. I did see a bit of his unique, so I already know what's coming next. And this... Yeah. I'm assuming he's going to be using this first as well. For each buff dispelled, pulling trooper allies gain 10% offense until the end of their next turn. And Bad Batch gains turn meter. Okay. So we don't know Echo's base speed. But this could be the Terminator engine that this team was looking for. I know that they say that they, like, recommend Rex at the start. But, I mean, you know, as an opening leader, Echo, get the days out. Healing immunity on opener is kind of weird. It's usually, like, you would rather see it. But it lasts 2 turns, so the timing doesn't really matter too much there. 5% turn meter is a little bit slim, unfortunately. I'm trying to think of how many factions. Like, Separatists probably have the most pre-buffs. I guess Kylo Ren with Hux also has a ton of pre-buffs. I don't... This team probably would struggle to even get down Kylo Ren's full protection pool before we even talk about getting to health. Maybe... Nah, that's not happening. I don't know. This will be very, very matchup dependent. I think this is one of the first times we've seen, like... I mean, you know, Rex gave turn meter for each cleanse that he did for his team. This is kind of weird. Again, if we're thinking about this on defense, then you can draft teams to fight this that won't give them any turn meter. So even if Echo ends up being a really fast character, even if Echo, you know, can actually serve this role of kind of like a very fast character who can get the rest of the team rolling, which is what the squad needs desperately. At least for defense, I would say this is a little bit inconsistent. But it's workable. There's room there, right? And attack can't be evaded or resisted. That's huge. Yeah. We'll take that for sure. The stacking offense is kind of nice. The Bad Batch do actually have some pretty decent ratios. I don't know that I'm going to read into it too much. You'll hit some Hunter basics sometimes that feel pretty sweet. That's, you know, that can't be a bad thing. Oh, wait. The God tier check. Okay, he passes. Good stuff. He absolutely passes. Dispel all buffs on all enemies. I'll slow down for a second. Can't be evaded is massive. That means foresight, evasion, mechanics like that. This will always be a reliable move. So for that alone, makes his character suddenly matter a heck of a lot. Overall, this ability is sick. There's so much happening here. This is very, very... I don't know if I want to say overloaded, but it kind of is. Okay, not bad. Well, survive. So this is where I kind of assumed if, like, when the trailer said that, like, Echo's whole role in the squad was a hacker, I kind of thought we'd be getting Mute flavor. I wasn't expecting it to be this directly, you know, kind of crossover, though. We have a very, very similar mechanic to Newt Unique with, anytime a Bad Batch ally. Unfortunately, only Bad Batch, so not really a whole lot of plug-and-play utility. Not any plug-and-play utility, at least for this functionality. We do start to get 8% protection chip, 8% health chip. It's not bad. You know, this squad does have decent debuff sources. Some characters more than others, and sometimes more inconsistent than consistent. But this, I think, is probably, like, you cross over this with the healing immunity, and I think this is what CG's hoping for in terms of being the banner tax team. And percent protection damage is actually very, very rare in this game. It's kind of interesting to see that, because I think, you know, matchup dependent, team dependent. I think it's very easy right now in most cases to just want to default to stacking protection. So the fact that they default to penalizing protection first is actually, like, very much not bad here. You know, it's... Yeah. I think that that'll work to this team's benefit more often than... I think you'll always be happy to see protection taking chip out for... I don't know if this is going to be damage equal to 8% protection, or just, like, if you have 0% protection left, does it just mean nothing happens? I don't know that, like, the word loses here is kind of weird. I believe Newt just says he deals damage equal to. It's probably best if I check that real quick. Yeah, whenever a Separatist ally inflicts a debuff, they also deal 5% health damage to that enemy. Where have we seen loses before? I'm trying to think of this. I know that we have seen it before. I don't think it's, like, stripping max. Isn't this, I think General Skywalker had it, actually. No, but that would be the reduction. I need to pull up chat. Does anyone know? Sorry, I think I'm worried right now. A lot happening. Should have a droid tag, too. Even if he does, the unique kind of spoils his potential in the droid team, I feel like. Yeah, no droid tag. He's had half. Be a little bit unfair to him. Who has... I mean, there's a way that we can Google this, specifically with loses. loses a buff, loses 50% speed, loses foresight, Kara loses stealth, Hux has advantage, he loses it. I guess the closest thing we have is like Ray Lifeblood. Ray loses 25% health, so we can just take that as, yeah, I guess it's just a different way to say it takes 25% health damage. But, you know, healable. Can be replaced. It's not like a max pool reduction. Yeah, just read this as like 8% protection damage, 8% health damage. And I guess that does mean, I guess the indication here is that it can't cross over. So that's the one thing Newt does here that loses doesn't. Is once the protection's gone, you're not suddenly doing 16%. Well, it would be 16, but you know, the protection doesn't start impacting the health pool. It's either or. Okay. So I mean, if we're talking Grand Arena banners, this does mean that they're kind of assaulting all of your possible banners at once. It isn't bad, you know. In Grand Arena especially, like generally teams will have more healing than protection regen, but there are some cases where it's hard to get both back. Like, I don't think there are cases that would matter here, but can happen. Okay. We got the full picture here. Kind of. I mean, honestly, I think Echo's base speed is actually going to dictate so much of the flavor in his kit. Let's assume Echo has good base speed. I guess we can try to like guess or assume the AI's move priority. Like we'll hit this ability first, that'll be fine. Just go to edge IG. Think. Wrecker, I assume this is actually probably gonna be the most tragic part, is Wrecker's first move is probably gonna be inflict stun. And he's not gonna be furious. Until like, you know, there's possibility we get a 5th Bad Batch character. Not necessarily going to dive into spoilers. Yeah, and I think we could probably have a spoiler section later, but just in case, it's literally day one. We'll give people some room. Yeah. It's weird. Like... I mean, the one thing I would say positively for this is... You know what? If Wrecker does Wrecking Ball, Tech... I should probably just get this screen real quick. Yeah, so Tech will give out Foresight, Stealth, and Tenacity up. Wrecker will give out, I guess, Tenacity up again, which is a little bit redundant, a little bit unfortunate, but workable. This team could end up, like, barely above the line for trying to outspeed stuff like Padme, trying to beat them. Some people do still hold Padme, or, like, people trying to use Grievous. Grievous, like, man, I know that they, like, keep on showing them fighting the Separatist droids for flavor, but there's a whole lot of back and forth happening here, and I feel like at every step and turn, almost, this favors Grievous. Easy, immediate example, right? Let's say Echo is like 220 base speed, right? Like, perfect. Okay, he outspeeds any Grievous team easily. This health chip is going to kick in a lot sooner than you would like, potentially, and that's going to proc Grievous Mark. There's obviously also B2, Hunter lead with the AoE true damage, procs B2 like crazy, you know, potentially good for chipping out B1 fairly quickly, but there's a lot of risk there, and like, yeah, maybe Shaak Ti helps them get over the line a little bit, but like, I feel like if that's the matchup we're talking about right now, this team is almost worse off with Echo than without him, unfortunately. That's like very specific to this matchup, though. You know, this team has plenty of great automatic potency on them, so I don't think B1's Tenacity grants will be that much of an issue for this team. The buff immunity isn't guaranteed, though, so even if you went for buff immunity on Magna Guard as the play, you know, 50% chance that gets resisted, and then 70% chance Magna Guard counters you. Could, you know, will be a little bit inconsistent. You guess the one that they got in the episode? I mean, Omega was in the trailers. I don't think I would necessarily consider her a spoiler. The one thing I'll say for Omega is CG has said in the past that they don't want to add kids to the game and have kids fighting. So I think Omega, as they currently exist in the show, obviously we don't know where they're going from here, but I don't think you're gonna see Omega, Kid Omega get added to Galaxy of Heroes in that form. Yeah, there's room for a 5th, but it's just like, with what we have now, this team really didn't necessarily want a 2nd support. And unfortunately, like, our plug-and-play options, like, because the debuffs can only come from Bad Batch for a payoff, we're kind of creatively restricted here to the degree that, like, I guess Shock T is kind of really the only way to try to make use of this. You know, Shock T Mass Assist, decent debuff generation there. Man. Depending on what CG has planned for the next month or two, I think there's going to be a potentially interesting shakeup. I'm really curious to see what characters like Commander Ahsoka Tano are intended to do, because to me, you know, you talk about what tags Ahsoka will or won't have, but I feel like she might be trying to plug in a hole somewhere to free Shock T up. That might just be wishful thinking, but if Commander Tano... Well, Commander Tano won't have a Jedi tag, though. Basically, where I'm going with this is... the uses for Shock T right now is, like, so incredibly important. Unless you don't have Jedi Master Luke and you're not worried about, like, JML versus Rey right now. You're not cutting Shock T for this team. Even though, like, she... like, there's reasons to like her here, there's reasons to not like her here. I guess I would call Rex a cheaper cut than Shock T, but also I'm not sure... I don't know if Rexley could somehow be better for this team than not. I don't know if there's a call to try that. At the very least, like, Rexley would try to help accelerate their attacks. I don't like Rex outside of a team with 5s, though, which is kind of the big issue that we've got right now. I mean, is there any other character? I know that there's weird, dumb stuff like, no, that's Sith only. Like, Dooku with Palpatine could cause characters to debuff themselves, which would technically count, but also that's self-debuffing, so it doesn't even count. I'm trying to think if there's any way that we could actually just, like, force them to do the thing automatically. Maybe I'm, like, looking at this too much from a defense-oriented perspective, but, I mean, that is CG's elevator pitch here. Hermione is kind of the same boat, like, could maybe try, wouldn't exactly. Would it be terrible? But also, JK or JKL versus SLK is pretty good. Jedi Knight Luke kind of being more important for this team than this team. Or for that team than this team. But tank, no, this team kind of just needs, like, we have what? I don't remember what a Hunter's classification is. Might be attacker. Yeah, he's an attacker. Like, Hunter's damage isn't bad. I'm not trying to sell him short on that. But... here. Why does it save this Hunter? Alright, whatever. I guess let's just get them all in. It sounds like I might have saved over Hunter, which would be a little unfortunate. Yeah, like, this team just kind of lacks any real active single target damage source. Which, like, yeah, yes, banner attacks, but also... I don't know. Maybe I'm, like... Is this team just, like... Is this the actual, like, equivalent of, like, a Rogue One team? Is the hope here not that they can ever, like, get a defensive hold or have good matchup tables, that they just go down swinging? It's kind of the opposite of that identity that we were sold in the show. They were supposed to be like, they get every mission done. But I guess maybe. I mean... like, if you run 4 Bad Batch plus 1 clone, then you essentially establish a rule that the first time you AoE, Wrecker will taunt. I feel like that's a lot of leeway to just let the enemy team do whatever they want, though. Especially for this team being on defense. Like, if you add Rex as a 5th, that Rex is pretty exposed. There's one last bit in Echo that I ignored, I think. Where are we even going? In the unique, whenever a clone trooper ally gains or loses a buff, they recover 4% health and protection. Okay, decent sustain. This team will have a lot of healing. This team will have a lot of extra bulk. Man, I guess their actual dream here is just to try to draw out the fight as long as possible and ship out as much as possible.
More shall gather, more shall enter the fray.
Yo, Scribe with the raid. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, we're looking at Echo right now. Hope you had a good stream, by the way. We're looking at Echo. I'm trying to, like... I feel like I'm, like, almost in denial, but I think that the direction we're headed is actually, like, workable. This team is, I guess, just supposed to be, like, the hope and dream is just a 55 generator. It's new. It's different. I don't like me being me, just my personality trait. I don't love the idea of posting a team saying like, they're here to lose. But maybe that's not even that bad though. This is so strange to analyze, actually. Like, this is as much saying that the team isn't going to win, or that the team isn't going to hold, as saying that they'll try to chip you out. Man, I guess I'm kind of here for it, like, if they're being, like, openly honest about this. But I guess still the question is, who do we go 5th right now? Like, if we're gonna treat this team as mattering. And I'm gonna, like, try to follow, like, we're gonna have to do this like the real way, and we're gonna have to just like look at teams as they're being used right now and like who realistically is open. Shakti, I do not think is realistically open. I don't know if there's like a hope and dream. You could maybe try like, you know, if you're gearing Ayla Sakura for Kenobi events. Shakti's a protection healer. Jedi don't have those. That is the difficult position we're in right now. I mean, seriously, like, this is what we're looking at. I don't know. I mean, I don't even think I'm gonna sorp anything right now. Like, the clone trooper idea is cute. I think Cody's base speed isn't even that good. I don't know what the issue is with that. Like, what's Cody's base? Yeah, 135 with gear 13. Let's see. I believe Echo only gives Terminator to Bad Batch, right? Yeah, not even Clone Trooper allies. This is so weird. Like, Cody's not terrible there. Cody's definitely not being used for anything else. If Cody gets a mass assist off, it's good damage for us. Like, and potentially, I mean, where does Wrecker make his defense up? I think it's on his second move, right? No, it's on his first. But like, the hope and dream, I guess, would be Cody goes last, everyone has defense up, and then you just try to like blender them. We're kind of stuck in the hole, just hoping and praying that they never like do anything to your team ever. This is like, if you just had like a training dummy in front of you, then that sounds great on paper. We're still stuck in a weird spot of like what happens when they actually just like start to hit back though. All right, Cody I would say is like a soft yes. I don't hate Cody. Clone Sergeant almost definitely not. I think I'm already out of the Clone Troopers. Like Cody, I'll write him down as like the most unused character, so that makes him the most likely we've seen so far. Shakti would fit well. Cannot really afford to go in. I mean, there's no real... argument to do this that I can think of. It would be kind of interesting, I guess, just to try to force like a weird alternate win condition. I don't hate it. It's not great. It's not really doing anything. She always uses her mass assist first, so this will literally just be she does a basic attack. And tries to get like a triple, a third Beskar ingot. It would just be like a 2-turn, like, ideally you need to kill me. I think, I don't think she would always put it on Wrecker. I'm pretty sure that it has to be, I think it's random, unfortunately. If it was like a 2-turn, I will make Wrecker almost impossible to kill, that would be kind of an angle, you know, ignoring percent health damage and all that. You actually, like, if we're just gonna lean all the way into banner attacks, there's actually some angles we could take here. Dengar, maybe even Dengar lead. I mean, Dengar is, like, probably most associated with being a banner taxer over time. Like... We're trading minus 50% crit damage for losing the bulk. Unfortunately, I guess, if we're just assuming that the Bad Batch is there to die, just there to lose the fight, but just lose it. I was gonna say gracefully, I guess gracefully might not actually be the word. As messily as possible. I don't think Dengar lead makes sense. I think we need to try to keep the AoE true damage. But Dengar as a 5th, I actually don't hate. I guess let's just... I have way too many tabs. Did I actually just hit the character limit there for nothing? Yeah, sure. We'll say this is the Bad Batch. Just pretend, okay? Well, shit, wait, supposed to be Cody. Alright, sure. This is the Bad Batch. Okay, Cody, soft maybe. The best thing I could say about Cody, actually, is we're probably going to have to gear him for Kenobi, so that actually probably makes him, like, a strong yes. Dengar, I think, is auto-add. Pretty much everyone up here is going to be used right now. BB-8 and R2 are actually kind of unused right now. Are any of them interesting for any real... I mean, R2's... Wait. This isn't bad. It's not, like... It's not solving the squad's issues, but it's actually really not bad. I mean, you got the number crunch, they are Galactic Republic. Combat analysis for the auto cleanse kind of gives this team some, I would say, durability, but again, like, usually you kind of want to see combat analysis on, like, counterattacks is the best way to get immediate value. And this team doesn't really have any counterattack source unless you add Shock T. Like, Smokescreen will always get dropped on record that has soft synergy with Furious. And R2 is kind of open right now. This actually is not bad. BB-8, probably not. L3's kind of unoccupied. I don't think she's been really interesting, though. We need to get out. Man, this R2 angle is actually not shabby at all. I don't want to, like, fixate on that too hard. Let's look at everything first, but if there was gonna be anything, it's actually not far off. I mean, hell, you could even look at his burn as percent HP damage. Like, huh. We're coming back to that for sure. Nest is theoretically flexible right now. So Nest is in this weird spot where if you build Beskar Mando correctly, you don't technically need her. I would say, actually, I think I like Nest in Padme just because after you take out Padme, Nest typically gets a pretty nice kill shot on Anakin. All the debuffs just kind of make Nest go crazy on damage. But, like, if you're doing Beskar Mando against Grievous, I don't think Nest is necessary there. The Bad Batch could maybe benefit from a fast Nest. Kind of as a bootleg, like, an opposite Rex. But kind of like, this was kind of Nest's role back when the game first came out and has kind of faded out since. Like, just kind of a... Nest is like the original Gideon, almost. Like, not a full turn meter reset, but just the -20 to the enemy team. She is kind of open right now. She's not, and we have, like, even if we're going to 20-man teams, I, like, assuming that you're, like, you have everything, which is a very big assumption, but, like, you can build a 20, maybe not 22, but at least a 20-man team that Nest can't really solo comfortably right now. So even though you could say, like, new team slots soon, so Nest can go back to soloing, that's not necessarily a guarantee. And I think savvy players will still put out an effort. Even if you're going to go some weaker teams, I think you're going to do what you can to deny a full, like, at least an easy Nest solo, right? Like, at least, like, try to force a Watt there, which is pretty much never going to be affordable these days. Watt's just... the man's got plans. Yeah, I pour one out. Maybe someday. If the Jedi get a third, I guess, like Hermit Yoda plus... I don't think there's any other real Jedi protection healers. Not that I can think of anyway. If only Plo Koon worked the way his ship did, honestly. That actually would just be insane right now. Like, huff some copium, maybe we get GR Jedi rework soon. That could make that happen. I'm not gonna assume anything until that actually does happen. But, I mean, there is an angle there. Yeah, I mean, we're moving... I use her in my Padme. I don't know. Like, we could try like a Padme with Aayla Secura and move Varys here. It's not a bad fit, actually. It's at least worth considering, because I don't think Varys and Padme is absolutely critical. Yeah. We'll lock this in as a tentative first. We need to get back to her, though. Obviously, this isn't, like, all the characters, but this is at least trying to look at everything that I have so far that could theoretically be used. I mean, there is a decent amount of exposing happening here. It's not actually that crazy of an amount, though. Echo has it on an AoE, Hunter has it on his basic. I mean, you're not going to see a Hunter basic until, assumedly, like, turn 3 for him. Unless they has some weird, like, don't use this ability unless it's conditional type situation coming on. I don't think I buy Resistance Trooper here at all. Let's see. I'm actually a little bit surprised, to be honest. Like, now that we have the full picture, it's kind of easy. Like, the first 5 that we hit already kind of feels like it's doing plenty for me. I don't know what we could find down here that would necessarily win me over. I mean, IG-88 for, like, the attempted heal, like, prevent all healing would be adorable, but, like... I mean, hey, whatever. If Razor Crest comes out, Razor Crest is good. You make an IG-88 Relic 7 for the fleet meta. You try to just hell stack him. Realistically, he's still gonna die easily, but you just hope and dream. Like, maybe that's an extreme long shot, though, to me. This song is not really doing it for me. All right, next. Yeah, we're kind of hitting the bottom of the barrel. Dengar aside. I've had some questions. I don't think Bad Batch spread to non-Bad Batch buff-wise. Like, man, this is like... Every single time that a team that makes a bunch of buffs comes up, it's like... Because Fulcrum mentions having a bunch of buffs in her kit, it's like, well, maybe. I mean, what are the rules, I guess? First things first. Echo. Yeah, all clone trooper allies gain defense up and tenacity up. I don't like. I think most of Bad Batch is written only for clones, which is the unfortunate thing here. They are very, very insular, at least in terms of their kit's functionalities, which is why, like, if we're talking direct synergy, it has to be something like Shakti that just gets them to do more themselves. Clone Wars Chewie? Nah, way too passive. Character just isn't really... He would need to exist in a team that gives him frequent autotons to ever matter. Basically saying, like, his kit as a tank sucks himself. He is, like, the prototypal original tank for this game that just had a taunt once and another taunt in 3 turns. And that was, like, his entire hopes and dreams as a tank. I mean, he does... he does make defense up, I guess. It's been a while since I've looked at his kit. God, we're even... What, this move makes defense up, I think? Or I got it wrong. Oh, he gains defense up. He doesn't even give it to his team. Yeah. Like, the one shot that you would have at possible team synergy. Yeah, it's just not a good character. I mean, who do we have? I mean, we didn't actually mark Armorer down yet. It's not compelling, but I guess just to fill things out a bit. Yeah, I mean... BB-8 and R2 are really unused if you think about where GAC will be next season. They will still be unused for me. That's a personal choice that I haven't... It actually might even be video worthy. My personal feeling on the extra team slots is that I'm not going to switch from my 7v7 defense loadout at all. I think the idea of making, you know, like, let's say you try to pull... Like, you were running Kylo Ren Unmasked in your Supreme Leader Kylo team, and you said, like, oh, I need an extra team. And then you pull out Kylo Ren Unmasked, and even, like, some people will probably pull out Hux. If you're still posting that Supreme Leader Kylo team on defense, what are you doing? Like, if your plan is to post them on defense, don't make that team weaker just to build an extra team, in my opinion. So, like, that's where I'm at. I would rather, like, I feel, you know, I'm a very defense-heavy player right now, I would say. I feel very confidently, at least in, like, 6 of my teams, the 7 kind of filler, or kind of just flexible. But I would rather just keep those 6 teams and post, like, 3 or 4 filler. So for me, at least under that consideration, that's kind of why I'm assuming for now that BB-8 and R2 will still be open. I know that won't necessarily be true for a few people, but honestly, this kind of just feels like Barris versus R2 right now. And maybe Nest. Nest is actually kind of going to be the enabler this team potentially needs. It would cost you speed mods to get her out in front. Teams like Padme wouldn't necessarily, you know... Like, they can't be Terminator removed, so Nest couldn't even do her job in that matchup. But Padme is already kind of a 55 machine, so not really going to worry too much about that anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have every character activated. We can do, like, one last pass. But I think that might be the list. It's actually not a bad list. Like, Cody feels a little bit optimistic. Cody will be, like... You know, like when you see the trash Sith team with like Dooku, Maul, Sidious, of just like, well, I got them for a GL requirements. Go get them, Tiger. You just chuck them into a team. That'll be Cody for Kenobi, I can only assume. R2 also provides potency to make sure everything sticks. Bad Batch pretty much never need to care about potency as is. The lead, assuming that we run the lead, which I think at this point we kind of have to unless you pull Shakti or Rex. Yeah, plus 50% potency base is already pretty nuts. On top of, like, Tech has extra sources for himself and potency up for the team. You know, potency up, you won't always have it, but it is there more often than it isn't there. And yeah, you're gonna be fine, right, potency-wise. But yeah, I mean, the main sell for me for R2 is just, like, he adds decent tax. The self-cleanse isn't bad. Number crunch, they are GR. Burn, percent health damage, 15% over time. If we're selling this team as a banner tax team, then R2 is kind of the same identity as like a Dengar here. Very much in the same idea. That's being, you know, bigger burst damage than Burn, kind of chipping out over time, but Burn can add up very, very easily. If you've ever tried to undercut a bounty hunter team like a little bit too hard and you take like a Django Burn, you know exactly what I'm talking about, of just like, all right, we're not even at 100% health anymore. This is fantastic right now. And then, yeah, I didn't call it out, but like Barris, defense up, soft synergy. Oh yeah, and it's non-factional, so she would give the Bad Batch defense up. That does technically exist. It's certainly not bad. Yeah, these actually all kind of feel decently competitive. And Dengar, actually, I really don't hate the idea of Dengar here. Dengar is kind of more honest about what the team's trying to do. Everything else is more just trying to enable the Bad Batch to do that instead. But Dengar is also incredibly expensive to gear, so if you don't already have him, I mean, if I just show you his gear not already, we got a furnace, carb, gun plus carb, more carb, right? There's a reason why Dengar's gear now. What the hell does Target Lock do now? Stops people from counterattacking, and also does 8% protection plus health damage. That's all we like. Target Lock is just basically the equivalent of Newt's unique for any Separatist debuff. Yeah, text basic. Like text basic is actually probably kind of gonna be one of the decent highlights of this team. Which is funny because he probably won't be using it that much if he's able to establish. If he's able to establish communication or translation, triple translation. I mean, he has to basic. I guess that's actually the one weird thing. C-3PO had some extra benefits that made it easier for C-3PO to not have to use his basic that often. I guess more often than JTR than not. Yeah, okay, he will have to use his basic a decent amount. But yeah, kind of the going back to the big concern that I have, like Bad Batch's main like debuff, target, call, whatever, is on their basics, and they all have double special, but the basics aren't even coming out that quickly over time. Like this is like one stun attempts can be resisted. This is no debuff attempts can be resisted. This is stun on target locks, I guess. Continuing to answer your question of what target lock does. So basically, essentially, you can also just think of the stun as doubling down your tax value. Here it is. Oh, and I guess now we picked up an extra potential synergy, inflict stun on enemies that are dazed. We finally see where the daze can potentially come from. To me, there's an interesting read you could do here. Tech is the fastest character on the team. I think he has about 170 base. The fact that Tech will use that ability first, like this could just be wild copium right now, but the fact that he uses that ability first could imply that Echo is going to be faster. I don't know when we're getting Echo, because all the other Bad Batch took a week to come out. I mean, I'd like to believe that we see Echo today or tomorrow, but I mean, look, if Echo's the fastest on the team, that is like the best case scenario for the squad. This is what they desperately need right now. Otherwise, you're looking at like Nest, or just like, yeah, looking at defense. Tomorrow would be nice. I mean, that's how marquees have usually worked, right? It's honestly been so long that I kind of forgot. I'm pretty sure we get like kit day before and then update next day. Plus, I guess tomorrow should be Wednesday, right? Yeah. So getting an update tomorrow would actually just be the normal way this game works. They gave us a week to buy crystals. I guess it's true. Yeah, I mean, where's my 20 team list, actually? That might just have to be... Like, Bad Batch will kind of go farmable around the time that 5v5 returns. Maybe we just kind of look at, like, what teams out there that are fairly cheap. Because I think that's kind of what this team wants to do, is it wants to, like, be like, hey, you have to kill me for 55, and you have to pay a little bit extra if you want to try to get extra protection back on that. Okay. I guess let's just... God. I'm pretty sure I'm close to the cap again. It's gonna go leader. It's gonna go, like, 20 representatives. Oh, wait, we just needed... God, I can't do GLs... Wait. Well, let me save. Oh, hell yeah. Easy. I assume if I try to use... Okay, we need to go unique only. You not really. You also not really. for too many people specifically. Yeah, sure, I'm just gonna start grabbing whatever. I think, like, if we're dealing with 20 teams here, I know there's gonna be some, like, push and pull strategically based on what your plans are. I'll try to, like, thread that needle a little bit. Alright, so we're at 15. Be back on leaders. There he is. I was, like, waiting for him to show up. Yeah, Mamatma. Why not? Absolutely. And then we're kind of starting to run into, I guess, maybe... You know, just for the sake of theory crafting, I think we just need to start tossing in. This is basically just a visual aid more than anything, so let's just, even if I don't necessarily plan to be able to run these teams, I think we still need to just consider them. Yeah, oh my god, wait, No, Ness isn't, they have too many stuns yet. Ness is not gonna be able to solo them at all. Is there anything I'm really missing here? I can't. We got Django as the bounty hunter representative. Actually, boss lead. Ooh. I mean, bounty hunters kind of have higher priorities these days, loftier goals than a cleanup, but bounty hunters would probably, like a boss lead would probably be Mob Bub. Bad match fairly easily, I want to believe. Not trying to play this song either. Alright, next. Go. Already just go. Oh, wait, I'm middle leader. The amount of characters in this team who are not acting as leaders is too damn high. Alright, whatever. Let's just work with this list. Skip past the first row. You know what? Gas will be at 55, probably. No. I mean, Rex is going to let them all go first. I would say maybe a 59 expected. Like, I guess for whatever it's worth, you know, Gas would potentially cause a Wrecker taunt off of Gas being the assumedly usual last turn in that squad if you hit Echo AoE first turn. I feel like that's a 59 most likely. Like, the scariest thing for this team would probably be tech target lock reaching past Gas. Or I guess maybe like a Wrecker AoE potentially chipping everyone below 59. Vader... Already, like, honestly, you don't really want to use him against this team most of the time, price-wise. Vader also has better matchup tables in this, but, like, you know, you give him a Watt. This team is supposed to be very, very bulky, and so there is actually an angle that Vader is going to take longer to kill this team than he would like, and Vader is very much a stop things before he started type character, and I think there's room for him to actually take a lot of banner chip here in this type of situation. Like, he'll kill a character at the start, and then the rest could potentially start to wear you down. But also, yeah, there's more concerns than that. Well, we need to see how fast Echo is. CLS should be absolutely fine here, I would say. You know, maybe room for like a 59 or a 58. The team, again, is going to be bulky, and they bolster protection as much as health. If you're thinking about sniping a character like Tech first, he is fairly squishy on health, but he has a lot of protection. So if you just give Tech extra protection modding, Explosives actually will do next to nothing against him. It's actually pretty sick. To the point that, like, Tech almost might be worth leaving a Gear 13, Relic 0. You know, requirements possibly screwing up those plans, but, you know, he's a utility character. I think it's actually not outside of the question. Darth Revan, the team won't have a pre-taunt. Maybe, like, a fast R2 could try to race him out and, like, stealth on Wrecker first. Sounds very ambitious to me. Yeah, I mean, Tech, I think, kind of contests their base speeds. He's almost the same, so this is almost just like a... I mean, Tech's actually, yeah, 160 plus 10. Basically, anytime you get speed in the unique instead of just as a part of the base stats, it just means that speed set is one worse for him than it could have been. So, yeah, like, Tech is 170 with, like, a -1 hidden in there, and then Darth Revan is, like, what, 170... Yeah, 174, Bastila. 156, a little bit slower, but Malik is right there alongside. Yeah, I mean, Revan has a natural speed lead. He's like 5 ahead if we count the -1. They do... I was going to say, they do actually have opening foresight, so if Echo happens to be a fast character, that would be Terminator for the team. That's also an opening AoE, which Malik is more than happy to receive. I guess the question, though, is how many banners would DR kill them for? I mean, Bastila provides good protection regen. I could see it going down to 57, maybe. Nah, 58. Actually, no, it would be 59 because Malik full protection. Yeah, DR has... A, you're not going to use DR on this team. B, DR is plenty happy. Grievous on offense against this team is actually kind of interesting. I think Grievous on offense is fairly common these days. I feel like Grievous on offense actually is, like, decently well positioned if you're not going to have to fight CLS that day. I don't hate this matchup. Maybe the scary thing could be, you know, Grievous isn't a team you necessarily associate with speed right now. So if Echo's fast, or even just Tech going before you would be a little bit annoying. Except Tech making that AoE foresight for the team is actually like, almost like, this is why I say Separatists have a really weird matchup with them right now. Is like B2 loves when your team aims at foresight because there's just more chances for him to reactivate or get cooldown reduction, or both. So it would be an interesting matchup to say the least. I would say like Grievous in the driver's seat would be player favored. You know, Grievous tends to generally aim for like a 57 or a 58, so it's not going to be like a 60 or anything, but I wouldn't say it's bad. Like, I would expect a Grievous to potentially form better than like a Padme. Bounty Hunters shouldn't have any issue here. Either chuck in Boskly for the sustain, or I think just like a normal fast Django lead these days with the Grief Karga and the Bosk double mass assist. You know, you could even annihilate Wrecker if you really felt like it. You know, Django lead comes with some banner risk. Maybe you would want to just go Bosk instead, but either way, the team has no real way to contest Bosk and Grief's generally superior speed and higher speed mod priority for other purposes. I don't think Bounty Hunters will have that much issue cleaning up here. Beskar Mando. This team is kind of like... Beskar Mando, we're kind of getting closer in the matchup tables. I still don't think you would necessarily want to use them here. The team has a lot of sustain. Bad Batch might actually be able to chip you, like, continuously chip you out. Like, the main way that Beskar Mando works is you snipe someone, you take a lot of chip over time. As the team starts to die, if you get like 2 characters dead, 3 characters dead, they have pretty decent protection recovery spam with the Equalize, with Queel, that you can kind of bounce back. There is possible room, I guess, that Bad Batch could try to keep that ending, like, regeneration in check. That seems a little bit hopeful for me. And, like, Tech is just going to be immediate food for Beskar Mando. I don't think Beskar Mando would have that much issue there, trying to keep fairly full banners. Padme, 55, pretty much automatically. It's Padme. Imp Troopers Overkill, easy 60. Can't really think of any counter mechanics that they would have. They kind of don't. Geos, I guess if you wanted to try to like Imp Trooper proof them, you just chuck in a Baze or a Kara or something. The Kara's in Mon Mothma. No. Geos, I think easy 60, no question. Well, okay. The AoE stuns. Geo Brood Alpha does get extra bonus tenacity. It basically negates their lead. You would have to at least splash a tenacity cross +1 set. If the whole team does just get stunned, it's not gonna be great. It's gonna feel pretty bad. And, you know, for whatever it's worth, like, AoE chip damage is kind of good for trying to deal with the Hive Mind's pool mechanic. It's tough to say. Generally, I would say GBA is probably going to be clocked faster than most teams, or most Bad Batch teams will be. I could see Geo's actually being kind of a sweaty matchup. Like, most of the time, you're probably going to feel fine and feel in control, but there's room for it to at least kind of hurt. I would say the big saving grace for this team is that Wrecker's furious. Like, he doesn't gain fury stacks while he's furious. So you're just going to dispel Wrecker and then go back to hitting other people anyway. The stun would just be the big scare moment for you. You know, we do have a couple of cleanse sources, but it's just a question of if the AI can line that up, which is a big if, by the way. God, do we even really have that many target lock sources aside from Tech Basic? I don't think Echo really does it, right? We got exposes, we got dazes, we got healing immunity. I guess target lock is actually kind of taking a backseat to Daze priority here for trying to set up the AoE stun. Interesting. Night Sisters, I think, should be absolutely comfortable here. They have, I mean, the biggest tool that they would have for trying to screw over a Night Sister attempt would be, like, if they get the stun on Daka and everyone else dies. I think Night Sisters are chilling here. They will absolutely be a 55, like, zero question, but I feel like that matchup would be fine for them. Pretty easy 55 assumption. Maybe Cyan, you could try to pull back to a 56 with his protection regen. It would take a while, but, you know. I assume if you get it to, like, Wrecker last man standing, Wrecker probably, like, Wrecker doesn't do a terrible amount of damage, so you just kind of let Cyan tank on him, have Trey cooldown reduce him, use Hell by Hatred, keep getting his second special backup, and just try to get him back to full protection. That's probably a 56. Assuming you don't add in, like, a Thrawn or anything to try to cheat it all back extra. Yeah, take care is fine. Protection King. Dude's chilling. Mon Mothma. Ooh. If we're talking like Mon Mothma POW, Scout, I think this is easy 16. With the exception that I guess, like, again, the AoE stuns are a little bit scary. Worst case scenario, you just, like, mod Mothma for tenacity for the matchup. And, like, they do have a tenacity share, so, like, even if, like, giving her tenacity alone, like, wouldn't be enough for the potency lead on Bad Batch, I think you could, like, try to tech them to deal with that. But also, like, the stuns can be resisted, so, like, 1 in 6 on your team, that's pretty good odds that someone's gonna get through it and potentially start the cleanse train. Yeah, you know, maybe mod POW for tenacity too, just try to bulk up against it. Kind of the same as Geo's, honestly. Mostly should be fine, but there's a little bit of risk there. I would rate that as a little bit sketchy, but stun is scary. JTR. It simultaneously sounds fine, but also potentially annoying. JTR's a control team who can't take a hit that effectively. I'm just gonna assume no C-3PO, but also no bros. So let's say, like, JTR is just doing, like, Baby 8 R2 plus 2, right? Which is kind of like where JTR's at these days, just kind of more on the budget side. A little bit unfortunate, but if you're gonna run her lead, that's just kind of the way things are. The unfortunate thing about that team is she doesn't really get her clean loops the way she used to be able to. There are going to be opportunities for the team to fight back, and you kind of operate on this very narrow threshold, at least for me. I don't have BB-8's regen Zeta, so it might be a slightly different case for me than this should be. There probably is room to kind of add some extra banner insurance, but mostly the way JTR works is the moment you drop below, like, 80% protection, let's say like 77 for, like, you know, grace period banners. If you finish like 97%, you'll get it. once you've lost that, unless you can try to stretch the fight out to getting a second Illuminated Destiny, you're kind of, those protection banners are kind of gone for good. I would say JTR has some room to get chipped out, just because she's not going to be able to stop everything for the most part. You know, like, if you try to add Resistance Trooper as some fast reacting, you know, extra turn meter removal with the exposes, maybe that there's a decent amount of luck that would have to happen there as well. But at the very least, like, we can definitely say that, like, she'll get Pick of the Litter for GE Mind Tricks at the start. There's reasons to like that matchup still. I don't know. I could see it being a 55, maybe a 57 if you have the regen Zeta, but even then, kind of a big if. Crew. If we're just talking like classic crew, officer with executioner. Officer, yeah, like the 30 speed lead officer just gets his pick of like, is honestly, despite being such an old team, it still has so much flexibility. And I think 3v3 lately has kind of highlighted that to some degree. Of like, for now, like Bad Batch doesn't have a pre-taunt, which is kind of the same consideration for JTR, right? Like, unless we get, I guess, like, maybe the scariest thing is, what, Wrecker won't, the 5th Bad Batch member has to have both the clone tag and the Bad Batch tag to actually reach 10 stacks at match start. So I don't know if Omega would get the clone trooper tag. Like, she was on, I don't know. Yeah, I think crew would be fairly okay here. Like, you get the choice of like opening halt on Tech or Echo or whoever to try to disrupt them. It sounds fine. You don't think Boss would work nice? Getting under that 100% health could impact her ability? I don't think it's that big of a concern, personally. She's a clone, yeah, but she's not a clone trooper, is where I'm going with this. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what version of Boss we're talking about. It does kind of have less regen if you aren't running Dengar lead, or not, but just Dengar in the team, less regen. I don't think Boss Lead would struggle that much with Bad Batch at all. Right? Boss Lead is an AoE regen, Bad Batch is an AoE tax. I guess the worst thing you could say is the healing immunity could be annoying for a minute. And then you just hit this button, and then the healing immunity goes away, and then you're just chilling, right? Like, that's... Without Grieve Karga, I think Bouncing Hunters maybe could have had a better argument for 55s, but yeah, they do have a team Dispel now, so that argument kind of starts to go out the window. And you could also argue, like, Boss Lead Tenacity. I don't think... The Boss Lead Tenacity basically just negates the Bad Batch Hunter Lead potency. Yeah, I mean... I guess it does feel like there's decent room for them to take 55s more often than not. I kind of wish I had ordered this like top to bottom. I guess I kind of did in terms of like relative tier listing. Shouldn't Bo-Katan actually just beat this team comfortably? Do Mandalorians have a cleanse? Is I guess question number 1. I don't think they do. It's kind of tragic for them. I mean, not unless you hire Beskar, but then you're literally just, yeah. That trade is never going to be worth it for now. Something has to change for that to ever be a consideration. But, I mean, you know, plenty of regen to be had there. Yeah, I don't know. You would have to outlast the healing immunity, which would be a little bit annoying. Canderous is a drill. I don't think Canderous would have that bad of a time here, especially with his bug going on. That matchup doesn't sound terrible. I feel like Mandos could actually pull it out for fairly high banners for basically trading for nothing. Right, you're not really using them elsewhere. Biggest issue that I can see with Mandos right now is that we don't have a compelling 5th. You literally, like, unless you just did it for fleets already, you have the choice of Gar Saxon or ISC as a 5th, or you just reach somewhere else for a plug and play. Alright, but like, if this is what you're looking at, this feels like a major detour to be on right now, considering we just got a GL announcements. I don't know. And that's basically what this question is about, right? Is like, does your leadership, or I guess like any mechanic in the team, actually come with enough protection regen to bring it back? Like, I guess if we just count Shakti lead separately, Shakti lead probably does. I mean, theoretically, you're getting taxed more than Shakti lead regens. 5% health and protection is a little bit under, potentially a little bit more repeatable. You know, this move, double assist, is basically 10%. Retribution also just kind of gives you health and protection refund anytime you get attacked. There's room, right? Also, like, insane special shout out. Like, if you're in the position where you're in this matchup, Shakti is going to gain 100% turn meter every time you do a true damage AoE. Have fun with it. Sounds terrible. Literally just anytime you press a button, she's doing something. So, yeah, matchup sounds pretty good for Shakti clones. I don't really feel the need to go into like a Hux lead or anything like that. I guess like a Bastila lead, depending on what kind of lunacy you're going down. Like, Bastila, the extra shielding is probably decently comfortable for you, and we do gain a lot more tenacity than Bad Batch gains potency-wise. Enough that, like, you can read it as 50% gets negated for the Bad Batch lead, and then we just have 100% extra tenacity to start. So, you know, tenacity no longer needs that 100% extra advantage. It's just your tenacity versus their potency. I bet that's probably fine. You're not really going to use Bastila this way most of the time. Assumedly, but like, I bet Bastila takes those banners pretty comfortably. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess this consideration is kind of like the question, like, hanging over this all, right? Is like, is Bad Batch worth getting? Assuming that they don't go into a requirement. If they become required for some event later, then so be it. I don't hate this. So like, let's look at the most recent, like one of the more recent teams, and kind of how people look at it, right? People talk about Beskar Mando as if he sucks, and yes, his matchup tables are a little bit low, but basically what this team does is this allows you to pick up either a Padme or a Grievous counter, kind of teams around that tier, which gives you extra room to post your Padme on defense, for example, something like that, right? It just gets you a little bit of extra flexibility on offense that lets you add to defense. Bad Batch is kind of the opposite, and it's kind of weird, because the whole idea of banner tax teams in the past is that they're teams that you probably weren't planning on using anyway. They're just relatively cheap teams that are there to try to lower your opponent's banners as they go through them. So the idea of getting a new one of those is like, it's not boring, but strategically it doesn't feel like it's really doing anything for us, right? It's almost just like, okay, we're going to 10 team slots, I'll chuck them in as one of them, right? Like, it doesn't really change up your strategy at all. It's just like, best case scenario for that would just be, oh, I put in my Bad Batch instead of my, I don't know, whatever, Night Sisters, right? Like, I feel like a team like that at this point. Just like, oh, I put in my Night Sisters, and hopefully they do some damage. It's not flashy. I don't think it's necessarily bad, though. I guess the problem is, like, there is room for Night Sisters to upset people sometimes. It's like, depending on what level you're at, you know, if you're lower level and people don't really know the matchup, then probably even more so. I don't see Bad Batch not losing most of the time. Oh wait, what did we get on the kit reveal? Sorry. I meant to be on. I kind of just been talking then, huh? I guess. I meant to be over here. I mean, all I was really looking at is just the team list. Yeah. I mean, in terms of like pet projects for where the game is at right now, I guess Bad Batch would like probably be more interesting than like something like an Aura Sing. That's also an entire new team that's actually decently expensive on gear versus like a strategic bounty hunter pickup that just kind of modifies an existing team. It's a very weird consideration right now. You know what? Honestly, maybe this is just the plan all along. They're kind of just auto slot in on defense with the extra teams in the GAC meta, and kind of not much else for now. Who knows? Maybe we get a 5th Bad Batch that kind of redefines our identity. But yeah, for now, this is just kind of a slow burn. Right? Just a kill them softly type team. Yeah, like without Shakti, how does Bad Batch ever have a hope of like doing enough damage to kill anyone? This team really needed kind of like a counterattack source, because it feels like counterattacks would have been your only real hope of, you know, the Bad Batch basics across the board are actually pretty good, and with Echo's unique especially are actually pretty good. The AI is going to be using them by like turn 15, turn 11, turn, you know, whatever, 25. Like they're going to come out so late. And the other buttons are fine, but it's mostly just them standing in front of you making buffs. Like, you know, 10 turns from now, you're gonna get it. Like, oh, great. Yeah, I don't know. It's all weird. I didn't even like call out especially that like Asajj is more than happy to strip away all of those buffs as they try to make them. Like, Nices are just not an expensive team that would also just happily, you know, 55 that for fairly cheap. 55 being what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would ever hold him for offense. I guess, like, what teams here could Bad Batch kill? I guess is maybe another question. And AoE stuns are pointless against Traya. Maybe the most interesting ones would be, like, the opposite of these. So, like, you know, we said, like, Mon Mothma or Geos could be scary. The problem is, though, I feel like this would be such a scary matchup to take, right? It's, like, Spy rolling over one of your characters, unless they just happen to decide to target Wrecker. Like, Spy doing that just is going to happen. Like, the best case scenario for you is just Wrecker gets furious quickly. Like, you try to wait until... Like, GBA usually does his AoE Dispel first, so you just try to come in after that. Shot goes with J-Mon, Gaslights with another Jai lead. Finally given to Rex 5th. I mean, if GL Kenobi steals Gas, then maybe, but again, that's kind of across that bridge when we get there. And also, yeah, it's honestly still kind of the same situation. Like, so let's imagine, right? So let's say Gas disappears from defense. Assumably goes to a GL team, and let's assume that CLS does not counter that team. Like, let's just assume that CLS is open. CLS can kind of just follow Rex. Or, like, you know, CLS, to some degree, you kind of just wanted him on defense before, so maybe you could assume CLS, like, if Gas disappears, I think CLS just goes straight back to defense, but you could argue, like, CLS could just follow Rex. Killing Bad Batch with CLS would actually probably feel pretty bad, but otherwise, like, he's just mostly killing Padme, or, like, CLS Mirror. But you probably have Grievous for that most of the time. Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be possible. Like, if Rex was going to be considered, I think it would have to be Rex lead. You kind of just need the extra value insurance that Bad Batch are going to get turns off. And honestly, just like we need Rex lead to just shove clones into getting to the turns that are actually going to cause banner attacks here. Like, yeah, there is, you know, AoE true damage or whatever on the lead if that happens. Those are some fairly big ifs, though. Like, yeah, your best bet of trying to get a bunch of AoE true damage off would be like trying to do a Cody pickup. I don't know. I do feel pretty decent about this list, though. These all feel like drafts that are worth trying, at least to some degree. I guess the one thing that's a little bit awkward that I could say about Bad Batch is banner tax teams want to die quickly, usually, right? You don't want to give a team that can regenerate time to regenerate. So a character like Wrecker, who's just insanely tanky, like, you would need to mod the team to, like, you would need to mod him especially for, like, I guess damage or something, and just hope his AoE does some extra chip. Like, Geos especially as an example. Like, Geos would be more than happy to just chill on Wrecker and just, like, pop auto basic for a while and get back to 60, right? Geos can very easily, like, lose a 55 if a character just hits them with an AoE at the end. So the whole fact that, like, Bad Batch are intended to be a banner tax team, like, the bulk gives them more time to try to get it out, but that just as equally backfires for them trying to, you know, lock in that tax, right? It's all kind of weird considerations. This feels like news to me, that CG... I wonder if, like, this was CG's intent for Mandalorians, but the problem is, like, Bo-Katan lead just breaks the AI on defense, so it's not even an option. Like, Ancestral Armor just breaks the AI. Like, kind of like a Thrawn lead with the AI. Like, the AI just loves to spam lead abilities, given their availability. But Thrawn lead's lead ability wasn't the end of the world for popping it. You know, depending on if Shore Trooper was there, if Thrawn was there. You lose, like, 35% Terminator or something, right? Like, it's kind of technically cooldown reduction. You could do worse. This is just, like, you know, Armor, easy example. Armor goes from popping her Signet on turn 2 to turn 3. She's gonna taunt first. It is not what the Mandalorians wanted her to be doing at all, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not walking out disappointed. It just wasn't. It wasn't what I was hoping for, and that's okay. But yeah, just a very, very weird elevator pitch for this team. The whole idea that they're built to lose, but in style is just, huh? It's a weird flex. That's for sure. I don't know. I guess it'll just be interesting. It'll be like, yeah. It'll be curious. Like, it gives them a lower goalpost to aim for, but it definitely feels more achievable for this team. So, I don't know. Like, Dark Trooper was a crazy unit. Dark Trooper is like farm immediately on site, right? This ain't that. I mean, arguably Dark Trooper was overkill, but Dark Trooper is just nuts. Like, you get Dark Trooper when he's available. Dark Trooper is a reason to farm Imp Trooper, right? If you didn't have them already, you grab a Piet, you grab a Gideon, you have a good time. Huh. I don't know. I guess, like, closing thoughts is just hopefully we get a 5th Bad Batch. Like, it would be kind of interesting to get this team that is kind of, like, low-key in the meta for now, just kind of, like, has a presence, isn't necessarily ignorable, like they will just be a part of your defense if you have them, most assumedly. But maybe we get a 5th Bad Batch down the road that could be the damage carry that they've desperately been hoping for. Or just, like, again, some harder win condition. Because, like, literally, you can alternatively read this as this team doesn't have a way to win. They just have a way to, you know, be annoying. And weird. Alright. I think that'll be it for me. Removing text starter stealth text start of combat stealth doesn't seem great. I agree. What option do you have right now aside from Cody? Like, again, I think that, like, running something like Cody, we just need to know what Echo can bring in terms of starting speed. If Echo has, like, Gideon speed, this conversation changes entirely. This is the one annoying thing about not getting their base stats when we get the kit, is we just don't know, right? I do, like, just soft guess, I do think Echo will be faster than Tech, just by the way that he's written. To what degree? I guess we'll find out in either 2 hours or 24 hours or 144, whatever the heck a full week is. 164. whatever. Yeah, we're kind of have to wait and see for his base stats for like if a full clone team is viable. But assuming it's not, yeah, I actually do feel really happy about this Theorycrafting draft. I think all these people have a decent angle to them, aside from armor. Armor was kind of there. And like Cody's best argument for him is actually just that the Bad Batch kits are good. And so Cody would be the best way to force them to try to use it early. But Cody does kind of need Echo to come out quickly to give people turn meter to try to kick him. But the Echo doesn't even give clone troopers turn meter. It's only Bad Batch. So yeah, just waiting for Cody to limp across the finish line. But yeah, like it wouldn't be terrible to get 2 12th attack spam. Like, yeah, for sure. I don't know. We'll see. We kind of just need to, like, even though we kind of hit the big day of like the final Bad Batch reveal, it feels like we're like there's an upcoming storm, and we kind of just need to see more of CG's plans. What the heck is Kenobi gonna do? Who is Kenobi gonna pull? What teams is he gonna disrupt? What the heck is Commander Tano's purpose? What are her tags gonna be? I don't think she'll be Jedi, but maybe. Probably at the very minimum a GR tag. So like, is she just supposed to go into Padme? Could she possibly work with clones? She's not gonna have a trooper tag, so all of our concerns of like Tech not getting starter combat stealth, that's still there, right? Like, yeah. Even though we kind of have the full immediate short-term picture for Bad Batch, I assume, who knows, maybe we get like a surprise announcement next week or something, but I think this is probably just it for now. I would love to be wrong, but yeah. We kind of need to get a better idea of where we're going from here. But yeah, I stand by this draft. Like, all these sound very interesting. Cody seems the most optimistic, but also most devastating. But like, this is a lot to stake here. Like, if Wrecker was pre-taunting, then Cody becomes more interesting, potentially. That starts to go out the window, right? Like, you would almost just want, like, Rex lead with Cody, and then Echo. Like, I think you would actually just cut Hunter, or Wrecker, sorry. You would just run the 3 clones, or the 2 clones with good basics that debuff. Tech and Wrecker for the expose and the target lock spam. And then you would just chuck in Echo for the tax unique, and then you would just hope your team goes a bunch, does a bunch of debuffs, and gets out. And that would also satisfy the condition of the team needing to die fast. Again, don't want to give up Rex, though. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like we said all there is to say. I mean, I don't hate the team. That's a start. Hopefully, I guess maybe the thing I'm most disappointed about this is I felt like they were going to be fun to play. I would like to be wrong about their viability on offense, but yeah, like, just basically, like, whenever I assume we'll start to see like early whales posting counter videos, like, just pay close attention to who the 5th is with, and like ask yourself what kind of potential roster damage or strategic damage would happen for that character being used. Rex, I don't think, unless you're doing JML with gas right now, I don't think Rex can be afforded. I think that would be a crazy like, just roster loss, strategic loss, to throw Rex out of gas clones just to try to make Bad Batch suck less. I don't know, maybe it's unfair to say that they suck, but just like turn them into a winning team, I guess, from a slow loss team or a messy loss team. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We got, I assume, an update coming soon. I don't know if there's anything else really coming today. They said some bug fixes. Maybe some of those will be interesting. Yeah, I assume we'll get that in a couple hours. We'll get a reward box. There's no slicing mats in the reward box, so honestly, who am I kidding? It might as well not exist. But yeah, I think that'll be it for the kit reveal. We'll see what happens. We got Grand Arena lock coming shortly. Grand Arena seems returning in a couple of days. Yeah, no one has cleared me yet with this new modding setup. Very, very excited for it, and hopefully we'll continue that not getting a haircut as soon as I thought. I guess I didn't realize that vaccines actually like took a couple of weeks to kick in, so I lied. It's a 1 week delay from when I got it, but we'll get there. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that'll be it for this stream. Kit reveals or the kit analyses. Now that we actually, whatever. I think we have to do the same thing as the stream. I was gonna say like I'm actually probably gonna redo Hunter and just do all the Bad Batch now that we can see, assumedly, all of the Bad Batch. If, like, now that I can actually, like, analyze and operate them as a team, like, literally the entire point of that series is to look at how they fit in and, like, trying to theorycraft into, like, emptiness for the rest of their faction was annoying. Yeah, I think we got some good stuff here. We'll definitely work that towards that. But yeah, I want to redo Hunter. I didn't really like how it was just like, well, we'll see in the future. I'll do like a full Bad Batch analysis video. I want this to be like the actual character, like per character, like breakdown. But if I get those 4 videos done and then they release a 5th, I'm gonna cry. Whatever. We'll get it done. All right, that'll be it for me. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah. Have a good one. Peace out.